FPL symposium over in Destin tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So wanted to make sure we got this in. First, we've got several items actually to get to, and should be pretty quick though. 925 East Jackson Street, the old Malcolm Young property, that will be going to CRA as a discussion item today about conversation about what's next with that property. You guys have heard me mention several times I'm a big proponent of using that for some attainable workforce housing opportunity there, and we've looked into that. I know the CRA board will be presented with some ideas for sale-based ideas, some rental-based ideas. Keeping it as Parks and Rec property was something that others had mentioned. That and that's what a discussion item is about. We're going to have a conversation with the CRA board about what they prefer. I really am a big fan of the community land trust idea, and maybe being the first project in the city to join the community land trust. And what that land trust allows is for that property you could still have homes for sale, but that those homes will remain in the inventory as attainable housing in perpetuity. Sometimes there'd be some for sale models of attainable housing where you would sell the house to someone who qualifies, but then maybe if several years down the road, they're able to then sell it at market rate, and you lose that the affordability of that property. So I really support a for sale land trust model, and we'll talk about that at length tonight, and certainly looking forward to hearing the feedback from the board. I have had conversations about the downtown post office with some USPS folks. Obviously can't get into a lot of details on that yet, and it is still early, but we've had some encouraging conversations about potentially keeping a downtown location, and there'll be plenty more to come on that, and certainly as far as where they go and lease and all that stuff, of course, that's their business. That's not ours, but it has been a conversation. I know you guys have asked about it, and just I could give you that update that we have had good, productive conversations about the potential of keeping a downtown post office location, and more to come. And I know that USPS will be doing some communication on their end to talk about that in the coming weeks. The recycling RFP is out for curbside. I think it went out March 1st, and so we had enough conversations over the last several months with some of those third-party operators to see if, just to make sure it was even viable. We'll see what we come back with. And hopefully we get some good proposals that make financial sense for folks that do want to recycle, and we'll evaluate and go from there. And hopefully, again, we've got one of those options. We could continue to do some assisted drop-off as well, but a lot of the direction that we're going to go with a new era, a 2.0 of recycling in the city, is going to be determined by what happens with these RFPs. So glad that that's out on the street. Appreciate our team, sanitation, David, everybody getting that done. And again, we'll see what comes back, and we'll update you accordingly. The trip to New Orleans for the Bayou District Foundation was great. We thought it was very productive, and I think it was an enlightening trip, certainly for the vast majority of folks that were on that trip. We had neighbors of the surrounding area, community members, leaders in healthcare, leaders in housing, city staff, county staff. We had pastors from our community, so I was very pleased with not only the turnout of people willing to give their entire day to bus over to New Orleans and back. We had about 40 people, but also the diverse nature of what, not just race and gender, but in what they do and the role that they play in our community. So it was great to hear those different questions about a project like Bayou District Foundation from many different perspectives. So anyway, great trip. We're doing a community project update March 14th at 5:30 at the Lakeview Center. The Councilman Wiggins and I to give some updates on Fricker Center, the Baptist Project, and to start having some of those very, very, very early conversations, just to make sure that we continue to have a good communication channel with the surrounding neighborhood. So I expect that some of the folks that were on that trip will also be there to kind of share their thoughts and experiences as well. So a big thank you to, again, several in our community, Alex on our staff for organizing and putting that together. I was able to attend Senator Broxton's farewell at the Florida Senate last week, which I'm very glad to have gotten to be a part of that. And just want to say, certainly, I mean, it's an understatement how appreciative I am of everything that he's done and continues to do for us in his last few days in his position. So he's been as a good a mentor and leader to help the city of Pensacola, and certainly the first 16 months of my job would not have gone the way that they've gone without him. And to have someone in his position in Tallahassee fighting for us was remarkable, and forever I will always be appreciative of what Doug did, and will always remember, starting as mayor, however long I do this, how what a benefit it was to have someone that was able to fight for you from that position of influence in Tallahassee. How important that and vital that has been. So a huge thank you to him, which doesn't do it justice. Local projects update. Again, you guys are probably keeping an eye on Tallahassee budget stuff as much as we are. We are encouraged to see that the $2.2 million is still in from the Bay Bluffs Park on both sides. That would help us with demo, and again, a 2.0 of what happens at Bay Bluffs. We know that it's important to a lot of people. We heard a lot about it when we unfortunately had to close it for safety reasons, and we hope to be able to see that funding, and want to give a special thanks to Representative Salzman, who has really helped champion that for us. And we've got a lot of asks in that our delegation's working on. And she really stepped up to alongside Conservation Florida. We continue to partner with them on that as well. But Conservation Florida and Michelle have been great advocates for us on that project, so very appreciative of that. And of course, we're going to just wait and see on what happens with the airport and what happens with the Baptist Hospital funding. Mentioned the community project update. Also, there's an information session on Pensacola Motor Lodge for the folks that are putting in letters of interest. That's going to be on March 11th at 9 a.m. here. So the developers, anybody interested in submitting a letter of interest for that property can do that. And we had our information session on Main Street on the Pensacola Sports Building. That went really well, so we were pleased with that. All right, last two things. We are excited to bring back our student summer internship program. It's for youth age 16 to 24 who reside in Escambia County, and is actually live as of now. So appreciate Erica and Kelsey, Stephen and the IT team getting that up and going. There's an online submission form. So that will kickstart now. We will be communicating that throughout the month. We have a deadline of April 1st to fill those out, and these are paid internship opportunities. So we do this because we want to invest in not only share the story of the great work being done here at the city, but also to give our local students an opportunity to build their skills and build their resume, and hopefully they would come back and work for us. And if not, this experience gives them opportunity to go find and not only build their skills, but find the best opportunity for them, and that maybe this is something that boosts their resume. So we have several departments. I won't list them all. They'll be on the site. Several departments, including the mayor's office, that'll be taking on an intern this summer, and so excited to get that going. Website, and again, Jason, myself, and really you'll probably see from a lot of different departments us communicating that and making sure that we have people fill that out. So you go to the How Do I tab of the website, and then just look for an Apply For section. Under that is the student internship program. And then last thing, I hadn't given you guys an update on, we are at, since January 1, Park Mobile transactions 27,722, and we're at 20,527 with Park Pensacola. So we're starting to see that gap widen and getting comfortable enough that people are acclimating to the app, and to start now peeking ahead towards some of the policy changes that we had discussed, whether that be increasing pay, geography, hours of operation. So that won't be happening next week by any means. There's still some council action that has to take place, but remember, step one of this has always been, our goal has been to make sure that everybody's comfortable with using the software itself, which is the most important. And we've been very, very pleased with Park Mobile so far, including just such a small amount. I know at one point we'd only had 2 complaints, I think, when we were into the over 10,000 transactions. So I don't have the total complaint numbers, but we resolved those immediately. And so it's really been a home run for us so far in terms of having software that works and works well. So excited for that, and more to come on when we start making some of those policy changes. But that is all I have, and happy to take your questions.
On the Malcolm Young Gym, the group has refiled a request for injunction. Do you have any, I guess, comment on that at this point?
No, not going to comment on, obviously you saw the result of the last filing, that it was denied a hearing and dismissing the case. And I appreciate our team, Adam and Jack, working on that. And so at this point, we continue to do exactly what we said we were going to do, and move forward with the project. So yeah, that's it. Yes.
Got Senate Bill Congress coming up this week.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? It's going to be a good crowd coming.
Yeah, I think I see it from 2 perspectives. One, when I was a downtown business owner, that it's always encouraging to see big groups of people, fans that may not have otherwise been to the city, and going to see their family members play or whatever. And we always like having those events where there's lots of people walking around, and you always notice when you see these tournaments in town, there's just you're walking out downtown on a Friday, Saturday, how many more people are out there. And so we're excited to have them. And again, those events really matter, and they matter for small businesses, people that live and raise their families here, that invest everything they have into a restaurant or a retail store, and to have our downtown flooded with folks, that get to experience that is great for their experience, but also great for our locals. So always glad to see those events that bring a lot of saturation and a lot of folks down here into our vibrant downtown.
It's a good way to show off Pensacola, what we have to offer.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's especially when you look at some of the teams in the Sun Belt where you get further and further out, teams from Texas, Arkansas, that may normally travel somewhere else for a summer vacation or a spring break, that this is the reason for them to come here, and it becomes that tipping point where I know we've heard from just over the years from fans that would come to my places back in the day and say, we've never been here before, but now we're going to come back every year. Those, and our beach does that for us, 365 days a year, but these events too. And that's all it takes sometimes, is just that one, that one experience that you may never have chosen otherwise. And really enlightens you to how great this place is. So we're always excited for those advertising opportunities for people to, to come in and love the place the way we do.
For tonight's discussion on the Malcolm Young Gym, are you hoping for action from the CRA, or just kind of gauge where they want to go?
No, I think we want to just answer as many questions as we can. In one of the previous meetings about the gym itself, I know one of the conversations was whether it should remain in park property, as an example. Well, we're going to show a map of where the local, the park property is. I suspect the largest conversation is going to go around, if we are going to keep this affordable, should it be rentals or should it be for sale? And there's a lot to explain. If it was going to be a community land trust, as an example, there's a lot of nuance to explain in that, what that means, and why that's different than, again, what we've seen a lot of times before, which is someone may have an affordable home and then they own it for 5 years, and whatever limitations that whether it be the government or a nonprofit, they run out of limitations on keeping that house from then just flipping to a market rate. So someone buys the house for $250,000 and then can sell it for $650,000. Well, that person benefited, but that doesn't stay in the pool of affordability for everyone in the future. The land trust protects that, and that's what I really like about it. Is it's this idea that yeah, you could buy that house for $250,000, but you're also limited. You have to sell to someone who qualifies, as well as there's a ceiling on how much of the upside of the appreciation that you can take. So why do you own a house? It is the American dream. It's to help build generational wealth. And I think for many, many people in our community, whether they're mothers, grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, what wealth is in that family was built by owning a house for, from 30, 40 years ago and then being able to sell that. And so you still want people that qualify for this to be able to afford that opportunity to be able to build wealth. But the land trust still allows that without it. Us just in a matter of a few years going from what was an affordable house to a market rate house, because that doesn't solve our problem long term. We may have gotten one family in, but we haven't gotten the idea of being able to keep it affordable in perpetuity is what makes me really like it. There's also going to be a conversation probably around what's the mix, right? I'm a big believer, as you got to see in New Orleans, on the mixed income model, that it's not all people in this income live here and all people in this income live there. I think we've shown now as a country over decades of time that that's not a model that's sustainable or that works consistently. So I like the idea of if there's 12, 14 units on this property, maybe it's a couple market rate, maybe it's a couple at 100% AMI, maybe it's a couple at 80. There's going to be some kind of mix. I'll be interested to hear what the board's thoughts are on that. How does that look? So yeah, there'll be a lot to discuss, probably a lot of questions to answer about those models. But no, to your question, my goal is not that we have to walk out of there, with decisive action. I think the CRA staff, as well as myself, I want to make sure that we have a general idea of what everybody's comfort level is and what their preferences are before we start putting a lot of time and bandwidth. And frankly, Victoria and her team already have, and you'll see in the presentation tonight. I mean, we've done a lot of research on what could be zoned there, how many units, what the rate would be, a rough idea of what the rent would be at every different level of AMI. So I mean, that's not to say that we haven't spent a lot of time already, but we don't want to start going down one road that isn't something that the CRA board's interested in. So it's really just checking their temperature on everything and seeing what direction they want to go. All right. Anything else? All right. Thanks, guys.